Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the In the Zone podcast. It is your boy B. Foster. Brian Foster is in the building. I'm glad I'm in the building because it's smoky than a mug out there. Good Lord. Is everybody else getting affected? What's up, Ty? Yeah, so as you see, it's only two gentlemen in here today.
Yes.
My lovely co-hostess fell ill, so I hope she is watching, and I hope, Sean, you feel better. We will hold down the fort while you were gone. And my girl Keisha was going to join us as well, but smoke caught her up too. So I hope a lot of you all are inside, staying in, staying safe. I hope this don't mess up everybody's holiday weekend. But hey, better safe than sorry. They say being out there today is like smoking a pack of Newports. What up, Jim? So we just gonna enjoy the show today and kick it a
all,
little bit.
all these people grew up in households where they was smoking during birthday parties, Thanksgiving, and everything
Yeah,
else.
but
And now we can't take a little bit of smoke.
smoking on planes.
Right,
Smoking,
right.
hey man, your lungs we ain't trained no more.
We ain't trained.
To my left, holding it down with me, my man. Y'all done seen him on a couple of episodes.
What's up?
He's been requested a few times. My boy Solomon, what's happening?
Nothing much. Nothing much.
Everything good?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
As good as it can be.
That's not encouraging. I don't like your energy already. And then joining us virtually because she was too scared of NASCAR traffic to bring her ass south, and I don't even blame her. My girl Jen Lee. Jen, it's been a long time since you've been on the show, girl.
I know y'all been playing me. I don't know. You got Gina, you got Sean. You ain't thinking about little old Jennifer. It's okay. Remember me when you make it big.
Okay. I shall. Let's hop right in, you all. Hopefully, if you didn't check it out, scroll back on my page a couple days. I know everybody's still debating the not especially that she's pressing charges or suing, excuse me, the Chicago Police Department, I suppose, and whoever else she can sue about the Maxwell Street Polish shooting and dropping of the dismissal of the case and all that good stuff. We're not even gonna dive in that today. I think that's been talked to death. But if you do want to hear our thoughts on it, we went live impromptu 2 days ago, had a great discussion. Go check it out. Today, we're gonna do something a little bit lighter. We're gonna talk about living black in your 40s and 50s, preparing for this middle side of life, right? Like when you're in your 20s, 40 seem old. When you're 30s, 50 seem old. And yet here we are, 50 fucking years old.
Right.
And I don't feel old. I don't. Most days. Couple of times a week, my show to do her for no reason. But you know what I'm saying. So, but there's a preparation mentally, physically, financially, and a lot of other ways that you don't even know you're going into. Maybe sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's unintentional. When you're preparing for this mid part of life, maybe you start kicking a little extra into your 401k. Maybe you move from the city to the suburbs. Maybe you start dating with different intentionality. Maybe you stop dating at all. Aaron, shut your ass up. You were right there with us. So we're going to break that down a little bit and just discuss how we've been affected by it, how we anticipate others will, get some words of wisdom, and really debate, was your mom and daddy right? Because most of the time, yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Oh, mama, I know you ain't got YouTube, so I know you ain't watching, so you won't hear this shit. Anyway, hold on. Let me grab. Usually, Chantel kicks us off. Chantel, feel better? Let me grab my questions real fast. I haven't hosted by myself in a while. This feels like the old days. Let me pull them up. Hold on. Now my internet not working. All right. This is why you got notes on your phone. Got it. All right. So as we're moving into our 40s and 50s, how should one prepare for older living? Health, finances, like I said, living locations, relationships, blah, 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 blah. So Solomon, as you were moving into your 40s and then your 50s, what switched for you? How did you start adjusting how you planned and how you lived?
I think, first of all, you don't pay attention to it as much as you think you do. You know, one day you'll be older, but right now you're still living at the age you are. So you're like, yeah, I'll retire. Yeah, I'll get a 401k. Yes, I'll do that in the future. But for the most part, what's going on this year? What's going on next year? I'm not thinking 10 years down the road because you don't know that 10 years down, you didn't imagine 10 years down the road, you're still going to be healthy, happy, kicking it, having fun, and ready to go off and vacation.
Yeah.
So you got to plan for that. Finance is a big deal. If you trying to retire in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you need to figure out what you want to do now. You can't wait 10 or 15 years. You need to start looking at that now. Where you want to retire, that's a huge subject. We were talking amongst some friends of ours, and we were looking up, where do you retire as a Black person? White people, no offense, they go to Florida, they go to Boca Raton, they go to Miami, they go to Arizona, wherever. Where does the Black, I'll say, upper middle class retire? Pulled up a top 10 list. First of all, of the thousands of articles I read, there was one list from Essence Magazine. It listed Memphis, Tennessee, Atlanta, and Jackson, Mississippi. That's it. So unless you want to live in one of those 3 places, you need to figure out what you want to do, how you want to do it, and where you plan on going. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. You're not expecting you're not your parents' 50 and 60-year-old. And now that we had our kids younger, we're about to be empty nesters. You ready to kick it. Your parents are ready to retire and sit down. So,
facts. Jen, how did it shift for you as you upshifted or downshifted, depending on how you're looking at it, into your 40s and your 50s?
I think I'm in a little bit of a different space because I'm already an empty nester. Praise the Lord. And I immediately looked to my siblings who were city workers who retired in their late 50s, trying to figure out, what can I do to make that happen? And I started looking at different things I needed. I met with a financial planner. Like, I want to be done working at 57. What can I do? And the reality is that when you work in corporate America, the savings, they match you at 6% or whatever. You get some stock options, but I feel like my siblings, they had the sweet route. Like, I don't have a pension. Everything that I have is what I saved up. And so that really slapped me in the face. It made me realize, I need to save more. I need to do things differently. So I feel like I'm more intentional about, how I spend my money, and also where I spend my time. Because in the past, I would have, I got some friends trying to do this, trying to do that. I'm like, yeah, no, I really want to pay for experiences and do things that I enjoy and not just do everything. And I think that's been the biggest shift. Is I'm quick to say, nope, I'm not going at this age, not only for finance reasons, but also because at 51, I'm tired. Like, I feel like I don't need to go to do all that crap that I did in my 40s. I don't need to see those same people. I think that's the biggest lesson that I've had, starting from 50 to 52. And I just love it. I can sit right here on this chair and be like, look at the pictures on Facebook and be so happy I'm not there. And I never thought that would be me, but here I am.
So it's interesting you say that. Let's dive into that a little bit. So one, well, hold on, let's pause that. I will dive into that in a second. So one, we're talking about finances, right? And I'm thinking about when I was in my 20s, and I'm check to check, right? Like I'm putting a little bit aside, barely, right? Like, but you're talking about 3 months rent, maybe. And I was cool with that because hell, I didn't know no better, right? And then once you get, you have a kid and you get in your 30s, that shifts some. You start thinking about not so much retirement because that seems so far away, but you do start thinking about retirement, right? So especially when, as Jennifer said, you get in corporate America, you're doing your thing, whatever, and they're matching. So you do put some, you tend to up that a little bit because, oh, well, they're going to match. Let me put a little bit more in there. But you still not, at least I wasn't. Some people are, way better about this than me. I still wasn't really focused on that. And then once I started the entrepreneur route, I wasn't.
That's your savings.
I wasn't putting shit aside because that's all I had. Like that was paying the bills. And I was flush with cash. But I didn't have a corporation or entity that was like, here's your 401k. I'm going to take this out your check every week. It was on me to be responsible. And I'm going to be frank, I wasn't responsible. So then you turn around and that's 10 years of that. Now I'm knocking on 40 And now I'm really thinking about it. Like, I really would like to start working in 10 years, but I got $20,000 saved. How do I how do I adjust that? Right. So I adjusted that by getting married to a doctor. But if you know what I'm saying, you gotta, that's when you start really, retirement doesn't seem like this long off pipe dream. So you really start thinking about your finances different, investments different. Buying a home is not just buying a house so you can be in the hottest area and be close to the club. It's really about value, equity, and all that type of good stuff. So you just think about how you spend differently. What we didn't touch on is health. And I started looking at my health differently. So when I worked out in my 20s and my 30s, it wasn't to be healthy. It was so I could take my shirt off somewhere and look good, and maybe somebody liked that shit. As I work out today, I still hope that's the case, but that's really not what it's about, right? It's really about keeping my blood pressure down, get my heart rate up, all these other things the doc say you got to do when you go, and any physical attributes that come from that are great, but that's not really what it's about, and that's not really where your head was when you were younger. So even the way I work out is different, right? Like I used to be in the gym, it's like if I went in there 2 hours, blah, 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 blah. Now I'm like, if I can get 45 minutes, an hour a day, every 2 days, take a day off or whatever, I'm comfortable with that, because it's really more about getting those other health benefits as opposed to, how I'm looking, my abs and all that good stuff. And then, Jennifer, to your point, the way we move socially, it shifted when I got in my 40s, definitely. But it's folks don't want to believe me. But I said at 50, I'm slowing down. Now a lot of people say, hey, you ain't slowed down. Yeah, I'm still gonna get out because that's me. I like to be social. I like to be around folks or whatever. But like, I can't tell you how many people text me or called me 2 weekends ago and like, you over here at Hyde Park Fest? Nope, I'm not. I don't have any interest in it this year. What? No. I said it's become and it's no just a Hyde Park Music Fest. I'm sure it was a great time, but it's not what it used to be, and now it's a music festival, which is cool. So if it's a music festival, it has to have acts that are attractive to me. And none of the acts this year happened to really catch my eye, so I just didn't go. I didn't feel the need to be there because everybody was there. If I was going to go, it was because I wanted to see whoever I wanted to see that was performing, and seeing some other folks is an added benefit. But you're going to see these same folks at House Music. You're going to see these same people at Block, Silver Room Block Party. Anytime I go into the Soho on a Sunday, I see. It's just love y'all, but I'm not pressed to be around everybody everywhere all the time anymore. I'm way more content to be at the crib in my backyard watching rabbits run around and hope a deer don't come and impale me. I'm guess suburban shit, but I'm good with that. I'm much more intentional about how I move and who I'm with. Right? Like before it was like who I'm with, because that matters. Yes. Right. Like I used to, hang with everybody and anybody. It's all good. I still love hanging with a lot of people. It's a good time or whatever. But now I'm super intentional about who I spend my time with.
I think that was one of the biggest lessons from Corona, because during Corona, we really had to pare down the amount of people that we were hanging out with. And what that said to me was I was hanging out with people who I trusted my life with. And I've carried that post-Corona. Like, you're going to see me about with the same 8 people. And that's it. Like, I'm not interested in being invited to everything. Somebody said, oh, you didn't get invited to this today? Great. I don't want to drive. I don't want to go. I don't want to give any of my money. I don't want to buy a bottle. I honestly don't want to drink alcohol during the week. And that's also been a big change, is that at 51, I can't drink alcohol during the week and go to work tomorrow. And I got a real job, so I can't, trick off. So not being able to drink certain things has been such a huge lesson for me at this age. And it's honestly getting to the point where I feel like I may have to give it up altogether because I just don't feel good when I do it.
I got some gummies for you. That's another transition though, right? Like I'm way more prone to do a gummy, but I still enjoy my sip, don't get me wrong, but drinking to excess like I used to. I really, and I knew this about myself and I couldn't rein it in, and I've been able to do better as I've gotten older, is if I'm not drinking, I'm good. But once I get to drinking, I'm drinking. So it's not like, oh, I have a glass of wine. No. Give me the bottle. Give me another bottle. shit, give me another bottle because I haven't already started. So now I've learned to tailor that back a little bit because you said I'm just not reacting the way I used to. It doesn't feel the way. I'm slower to recover than I used to be. You know, we would go out in our 20s and go to the damn spoken word joints on Wednesdays and get jacked up, be out till 2, 3 in the morning. And I was back in Skokie at 8 o'clock in the morning working.
Yep.
Now,
those days are gone.
How good I was at my job is a different conversation, but I was there. Solomon, jump back in. You look like you had.
Oh, I got plenty to say. Always do. Health is a big thing. Health is a big thing. I guess I learned this a number of years ago. My grandmother, she's now 98, but back in the day, she had this big fixation on her teeth to the point where she had 2 dentists. And I'm like, Grandma, you don't need 2 dentists. You don't need to go to 2 different people to take care of 1 set of teeth. She had a big fixation on having a dentist and keeping her teeth good. And we got to talking to people. And one of the doctors I talked to was like, look, you break a bone, it's going to heal. You break a finger bone, leg bone, ankle bone, it may not heal perfectly, it's going to heal. You lose your teeth ain't healing. You're not regrowing teeth. That's a bone in your body that's there or it's not. So dental health is one thing that I paid a lot more attention to, which I think is interesting. But going back to what you said about activities and things, you know, back in the day, bungee jumping, skydiving, you know, motorcycles, all this other stuff, fun, exciting, love the adrenaline. Nowadays, it's like, what's my copay gonna be? What's my deductible this year? Don't you know?
Submarines?
Right? No.
Too soon. Sorry.
Submarines over airplanes. Someone said last week, there's more airplanes in the water than submarines in the sky. So that should let you know. There is.
There's more airplanes in the water. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, fuck that. Go ahead.
But even cruise ships. I mean, you go on cruise ships and you say, well, we're gonna do all these excursions in the middle of nowhere, and we don't know who's running the excursion, and there's some guy named Pablo, and he's like, give me $20, trust me. And 6 hours later, you lost in the jungle. So you think more about what's going on in your life, your health, just overall longevity. There you go.
Longevity.
All right, well.
Yeah, right now I have an herbalist, a chiropractor, a physical therapist, my primary care doctor, and a specialist. And I'm healthy. I'm just going to all these people.
It takes a village to keep you alive.
It takes a village. When I met my endocrinologist years ago, I said, my goal is to outlive my daddy. He was only 52. So do whatever you need to do to help me meet that point. But it's just so crazy that I started having this brain fog, and I didn't realize that was a symptom of menopause. I'm like, why do I feel so lazy? I don't want to do shit. What's wrong with me? And I spoke to this herbalist and she sent me these little drops, and I feel like the whole world just opened back up. And it was really amazing to me how much menopause can impact your brain as well as, the physical parts of your body. So these are the things that you start thinking about. And I think what I'm doing better than my mother didn't do is I'm telling my daughter, yo, let me tell you something. Those little flat abs, they great in your 20s, but I promise you, the moment those hormone levels drop, you're going to have a little pouch or you have a baby, and, all these things happen. So I feel like I'm definitely preparing her for the future and trying to get her to get good habits now, as opposed to waiting until you're 50 and you wake up and you're like, fuck, I feel dead. I mean, I honestly felt dead.
All you want, but our parents probably told us a bunch of stuff, and we were like,
they didn't. Our parents weren't good at that shit. Yes. Our parents was like, go forth, get out, goodbye.
Right, and now you're at that age, and you're like, damn, they were right.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. I do want to touch on something that we started to touch on. And this health thing is huge for everybody. I hope everybody is seeing their doctors, seeing their dentist regularly, taking their advice. I know I'm still kind of not the best at taking my doctor's advice. He wanted me to change to some diet. I like steak too much. Sorry, doc. But he's like some great fish and blah, blah, blah. I can't do that. But anyway, relationships. And I think this is important. Some people, I think I've always cherished my relationships, my friendships. And I have a big social circle. And I've always cherished, even if we weren't the closest, Like I've always respected and cherished the folks that chose to spend any amount of time with me. Always did. But how have you changed? And Jen, you touched on a little bit about how being stuck inside during Corona changed how we valued and saw our relationships and how we moved within them. You touched on your friendships. What about your relationships dating?
Oh, so I say it's crazy because I believe in sex. I do. I love sex. It's the greatest thing in the world. But what I don't believe in is stress or the interruption of my peace. So with that being said, I have a bedfellow, but I don't really date anymore. And I'm hoping that the interest will come back. But right now, I'm like, for what? I don't want to argue with the man. I don't want to be like, oh, honey, I'm going to Morocco with my daughter for 2 weeks. I don't want the discussion. And so what I learned is that I am not a nice person if I'm not having sex, but I am much happier if I'm not dealing with the drama of a relationship. And I know that our relationships are not drama. I'm not that person that thinks that it can't be perfect.
Yes, they are.
I am the person that feels like
all drama.
I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it right now. I don't know when that's going to change. And it's been that way for about 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So just so I'm making sure I hear you clearly, you got a fuck buddy that you have consistent relations with, but there's no relationship ties in that you all are thinking this is going to be it's me and you.
No,
blah, blah, blah.
Even
if that's the only person you're seeing,
yep,
you're not
makes sense
putting all those other strings attached to it.
No, not at all. And I just don't know. Like I actually got a therapist last year to discuss it because I was like, am I normal? Right. And so what I learned is that not everybody needs to be in a relationship. If I'm happy, if I'm content doing me, then that's what I'm going to continue to do until I feel otherwise. And I honestly don't know when that's going to happen.
Fair enough. Solomon? I mean, we're both married men, so dating hasn't really been in the cards for us. But
no,
even how we view our relationship with our wives.
COVID did a big number of relationships, married relationships. Going from seeing someone part of the day because you were at work, but you get to do stuff around the house, but then you still get to go out and do stuff, to you're either at work or you're stuck in the house with one person for what seems like an inordinate amount of time over what, and that's where you are. You definitely have to have communication in there, but I think COVID did a big number on relationships across the board. Also did a big number on people's lives. People realized that COVID was life ending for 3-5 million people. If this isn't where you wanted to be in life, if this isn't what you wanted in life, fuck it, go get what you want, because damn everybody else, you have to live your life and do what you want to do to keep yourself happy. And if you're not in a spot where you're happy and you think you're going to be happy, you got to go. You got to jet. Keep your happiness on top of everything. That's going to play a part in your mental health.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think so we touched on relationships, friendships, right? Like I as I mentioned, I always cherished them. I always valued them, but you value them more when you're separated, when all you can do is get together on Zoom, when you haven't seen your people, can't have a drink, can't whatever, go to Ravinia and set out a pic, whatever it is you did with your friends. But to your point, Solomon, COVID really did make or break a lot of relationships.
Yes.
A lot of people are like, so you think you know somebody and you love somebody, and that's easy to do when you see them 2 hours a day. You see them in the morning, you go your separate ways to work or whatever. Then you come home and somebody's cooking and somebody's in class and somebody's dealing with the kids doing this, and now it's 9 o'clock. Maybe you watch your favorite TV show, go to bed. COVID, shit. You sitting right there next to this mom.
You're home with each other all day, every day.
Having
and
to actually
weekends.
talk.
And weekends.
Yeah, and figure, right. Ain't no escape on the weekends and trying to figure shit out and like, wait, you like Trump? How did I never know this? Right? Like you find all this stuff out about people that you didn't know or that you buried because you could, and now all this stuff resurfaced or surfaced that you didn't know.
Or even the levels of COVID awareness. You're in a relationship where one person is super masked up, using hand sanitizer all the time, and other person is like lax, like, yeah, I'm protected, but I'm not that protected. And trying to get those people to interact and meet as you're going up. Well, why are you not wearing a mask? Because COVID's over. COVID's not over. You need to wear a mask. Okay, COVID's not over, but it's not to the level it is. I don't need to wear a mask every day, all day, in every situation. So that just that right there. And then once you're home all day with each other and all you got is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you lose yourself a little bit because you two have to go separate. The house is only so big and you still have to come back together. So yeah.
No, agreed. And then
even with my children, I couldn't take it. Yes. Jumped on an airplane in the middle of COVID and went and rented a big house in Arizona because I have a condo and my kids, they had to come home because they didn't want to be alone anymore. And I realized I don't like living with kids anymore. So let me get the fuck up out of this little 2,000 square feet and let's go someplace. And it actually turned out to be a blessing. I mean, we went to the Grand Canyon and did things that COVID gave us the time to do in a much larger space. And it was, just really nice waking up to a swim pool every day as opposed to waking up like to something that we're seeing, today in the sky. So you really learned a lot about yourself in that regard. And at this age, I'm not used to being mommy, like cooking meals and cleaning up after people and fussing and shit, like get the fuck out. So I'm like, okay, so I can't say that because it's COVID. Let me go get a bigger space so we can at least hide from each other and be more comfortable. So that's another thing, a learning for myself. And I've told my kids this. They on a 1 week limit. 1 week you stay with me and then you got to get out. Go stay with your grandmother. Go stay with your father. And you can come back after that week. But I need a week in between because I don't have the patience that I had when I was younger. And I also don't want to do that mommy shit that I did for, 20 years.
Mm-hmm. What's funny you say that because so the one thing about COVID, I have a decent sized crib, so we could all retreat to our corners and then come back together, right? But I felt for people that were in your such 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom condos, apartments, and you got 3, 4, or 5 people living in there with you, y'all all on top of it. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. But I will say this too. So there's a lot of social media chatter as always, the war of the sexes. Jennifer, I feel you. I don't want to be fucking single. I really cherish my relationship a lot more than I used to at this age because it's pee in the. I think there's a lot of quality men and women out there, but everybody's
they're not meeting each other.
Yeah, they're not meeting each other. Everybody's so jaded and guards up and jacked up from other relationships and other situations in life that they can't even see the good in each other and connect. And I don't want to have to wade through that shit. That seemed like a pain in the ass.
Very painful. And when you realize, and I think the difficulty too, and I was telling my mother about this because she was like, you're too independent. And I was like, I'm in a different space where a person has to add value to my life. And if he's getting on my nerves, I don't want to be bothered. And I would also say that's something that I think about as a 51-year-old, like anybody that marries me is signing a prenuptial agreement. Like I'm too old to risk my financial future. When I got divorced, I had to start over and I'm not willing to start over again. At this age, I would never retire if I did. So that's also a big difference is that I truly think about, if I'm with somebody, he's going to have to sign this piece of paper and because I have to leave something to my children.
Jennifer, you rich, huh? Prenuptial agreement. Right. That so, I'm sorry, Tiff. I'm not sure what you mean about what does that mean exactly? Throw that back in the elaborate in the chat if you would.
But as your years expand, your friendship pool contracts. Seriously. When you're younger, you had 1,000 people you may have talked to, kicked it with, whatever, every other weekend. Now, if I'm going out, I'm calling 5 people. If they're not free, I'm not going out. If they're free, I'm going out with one of those 5 people. But I'm not calling the world hey, let's go here. Let's go to the club. Let's see no big groups of people. You run in small packs.
You know what I'm way more comfortable with these days? Moving solo.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I can go when I want. I can leave when I want. I can sit where I want. I can talk to who I want.
Yes.
We don't need to have a home base. I ain't got to figure out what time your wife gonna tell you. You gotta be, hey, this is where I'm gonna be. Meet me there. Yeah, I'm gonna be here.
Yep. And that's exactly what I did for one of those Eve at the jazz thing somebody was like, who are you going with? I was like, absolutely no one. Yeah. I will likely know 400 people in the room. I'll be okay when I get there. Same thing with the house music picnic. I'm rolling with a chair and my drinks only. I'm gonna send this dude some money to feed me, and that'll be that. Like, it's just the best thing in the world.
I don't even think I'm taking a chair because I'll put it down somewhere and I don't see it again.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, where the hell did I put that chair at the beginning of the night? So I don't even think I'm dealing with that anymore. Oh, let me see what I love it. Yep. Let me see what Tiffany said. She was out. So I want to make sure I address her question. That's Jeff Green. Oh, Jeff Green. All right. You and Jeff had that in the chat then. I got you. Thanks, Jake. Let me ask this, because we're all dealing with this. Well, we are dealing with this in some way, shape, and form. Empty nesting. And Jennifer's touched on this a little bit. How are you coping, and how did you wrap your head around it as our kids start moving out into the world and leaving us alone?
I can't wait for them to get the fuck out so I can get the fuck out. As long as their tuition is covered, I'm jetting. And people are like, well, what if they need to come see you or need to, wherever I'm in the world, they can get a plane ticket. But I ain't going to be where they're going to be like, well, I'm driving a bit. No. I'm going places Southwest don't fly. They'll be well prepared, and then they have other family members in the city if they need something. I'm out the country. So
out the country.
I'm out the country. The country. Y'all can have it.
Where you thinking?
If I tell everybody, they're gonna follow me.
Nobody want to follow you.
Right now, places in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Panama, someplace like that.
All right.
Heat.
I mean, ain't nobody moving to freaking Denver. They grown. I'm gone. Yeah, Coleman, you ain't lying.
There you go.
I'm out. Look, everybody trying to get out.
I'm gone. They can live that life.
I still got so much time.
No, so I travel quite a bit for fun. But what I think about now is, my kids are in 2 different states. I don't really feel as free as our friend here who wants to move to Panama. Number one, I still have an elderly parent that's still alive. So I feel like I can't leave the country. And that's also some old responsible shit you start thinking about as an adult. Like I can't leave the country. My mother is 82. Like, I want to be here for her final years. But then also, with my children being in transition, my daughter about to go to grad school and my son still in college, I don't feel like I am totally free. Mm-hmm. I think I'll feel free once they both are in their professions. But even then, I want to be a less than 4-hour flight away. I don't feel comfortable. And maybe that's some old mommy guilt shit. It's some mommy guilt shit. I know. I feel like I could go
20 years raising an adult.
I know. And I feel like I can go somewhere for like a month. But you saying right now, I haven't seen my mother. I haven't seen my mother in 5 months. Like, I think that's so abnormal and crazy that I'm just like, this is unacceptable. Like, I can't go.
You said you haven't seen her?
Yeah, I haven't seen my mother in 5 months.
So if you lived in Barcelona, what would be the difference?
So this is abnormal. This is the first time since college that I haven't seen my mother in 5 months. Well, it's I don't really like it.
She was following me as long as I had a guest room wherever I went.
I don't really want Evelyn Lee to live with me. Love you. If she does watch these, she already gonna hear that I'm having sex, but whatever.
She figured that out a long time.
Where she think you got 2 kids from?
I think she knew you was doing that in high school.
Divorce, sitting in celibacy, being a saint. That's what she thinks of her daughter.
Tell her.
She don't believe that shit. Right. She don't nan believe that. Let me ask you all this, because it's so, and the empty nester piece is interesting to me because I've got 2. One that's graduated and is working and living with his girl and grown, and then I got another one that's sophomore in college, so he's doing his own thing. But then I hit the reset button, so I got these two smaller ones. So I got another at least 9 years before they're both gone.
And then I think you're underestimating, like, so I paid for my daughter to go to Cornell, and I was talking shit to one of my friends who was like, I can't afford to Cornell. And I'm like, you have you have a husband, like, why are you tripping? And then I learned that Cornell has gone from 50 grand a year to 75. And I'm like, you know what? 75, that's a little painful. So now I'm gonna shut the fuck up and not talk shit about parents not wanting to pay, the Ivy League tuition. But imagine, Brian, in 8 years, it's gonna be $100 grand for you to send your kids to school, and your ass is gonna be old.
Well, just the 4-year difference between, it wasn't even the 3-year difference between my now 22-year-old, my now 19-year-old was drastic. And I'm not talking like an extra almost $10,000 a year. I mean, as drastic, yes, but that's a big jump in 3 years. So I can only imagine. So I've already told them, and we're planning differently.
That's a nice podcast for the future. What do you owe your children?
Good Lord.
Do you owe them a college education and tuition and all that?
Well, that's a different conversation.
You're right.
That's a good one.
Don't even start. Don't even start.
So I hope you watching and you took notes on that one. But I think it's interesting because when we're talking about planning, right? So when my older two, again, I was living life, like dealing with bills and mortgages and stuff and shit I wasn't used to. So saving for their college was a priority, but it wasn't a priority. So when the bill came due, I had some money, but I didn't have enough, to cover it. So I'm still paying out of pocket now, and I'm in a much better position now, but unfortunately able to do it because I didn't have the financial wherewithal or access that I had back then to save like I should. Now we putting so much away, even if no matter what it costs, Jen, we'll be straight. But I got my fingers crossed. These two are better than the other two, and they get some scholarships. So
imagine. I mean, I got a divorce, and I remember we did start saving for my daughter young, but that divorce and those businesses wiped that little money out. And so when it came time for her to go to college, she was just like, I don't give a fuck what y'all didn't do. This is where I want to go. I got the grades. Have at it. Good luck. And I mean, we were like, you know what?
If your grades were that good, you should have got scholarships. What you looking at me for?
They don't give scholarships like that at Ivy League schools. Everybody is smart.
And everybody got money, usually.
Except for me.
Especially at Cornell.
No.
I done seen them.
Let me ask y'all this. And Solomon, I'm going to somewhat put this question on you. Late bloomers. And I'm only somewhat putting this question on you because you pledged a little later in life. I saw your social wings spread a little more when you got a little older. I'm being frank. My man wasn't never like no lame or nothing, but you got out a little bit more once you crossed and did your thing or whatever. This isn't the question about how do you feel about late bloomers, but having been somebody I think that was social and then kind of retreated in the family and then socialized again. How do you look at that in your later stages of life? And not that we old, but
I look at it as it was always there. It just wasn't outward because I focused on other things. I was focused on, the 401ks, the pensions, the life insurance, the house, making sure everything was set. And then I got to a point where I felt everything was set and was kind of running smoothly. I can go back to focusing on what I wanted to do and how I wanted to be and where I wanted to go. And then COVID hit. Everything goes back to COVID.
COVID was a game changer.
COVID was a game changer. And then you realize you could save all the money in the world. So the wrong person sneeze on you, you out. And you've lived your life not how you wanted to live your life. So that's been the goal since then. If the whole thing, I'm over 40, I ain't doing that anymore. I'm over 40, I can do what I want. I'm over 40 this. So now it's about living my life how I want to live my life. What are my goals, where I want to go, what I want to do? And the thing will become, you either gonna come or you're not gonna come. This is where I'm going. My friends, if you following me to this club, you follow me to this club. If y'all decide y'all not doing clubs or anything else, and I don't mean clubs specifically,
Yeah.
I mean just anything, then that's on you. But I'm trying to make sure my 50s were just as wonderful as I want them to be, or just as wonderful as I want them to be, and still save a little energy, because I know some 60-year-olds that are kicking in more than I am, and I'm like, and you don't realize this. Every generation, every 10-year block, 20s, 30s, 40s, thinks they're partying hard and they'll settle down. But as you get older, and especially with our group, we're still much more active than our parents were at our age. Definitely so than our grandparents were at our age.
Absolutely.
And you don't realize that. Like they say, you only as old as you feel. I feel 30 in my head. I think I'm 30 in my head. I feel 52 after the fact.
Excuse
so I'm
me,
only
as
as
the
old
50.
as I feel. But I'm always going to think I'm 30 in my head. And I'm always going to act that way until my knee acts up and my back hurts and this and that. So the biggest thing is, now's the time to, like you said, you could go someplace on your own. You're not worried about what people think or what people are doing or being, I got to have a friend there. No, I'm 50. Do what the fuck I want. That's it. So I'm waiting to get to that true old man stage when you 70 or 80 and you can say what you want, do what you want.
No, that happens at 50.
Right. Where you respect me or you don't.
Always been there.
But there's another level. There's another level when you are older person. So
and Jen, I want to explain this to you because I want to talk to you about this part as well. And agreed. And I hit this point not because of age, but because of I've always kind of had a mouth on me, but it was always somewhat tempered because I was throwing parties. I had the sports league. I never wanted to really offend anybody because you might spend some money with me. Now that I ain't doing that shit, I don't care what I say.
And what I learned, speak your mind, because every one of us has a friend that's an asshole.
No, you know what? I will say this. I will say that I choose my battles now.
Yes.
Now, if I've been drinking, forget it. I'm going to say it and you're going to hear it. But, if you talk to people that knew me in my 20s and my 30s, they'd be like, oh my God, Jennifer Lee, she's this, she's that. And unfortunately, I will say that it's very difficult to run away from what people think you are. But if you think at 51, I'm the same person that I was at 31, then you don't understand how life works. And so I can have somebody say something crazy to me. Like I won't be in the Polish sausage line arguing with a man because I would have walked out the moment he raised his voice at me. I'm not about to fight with a man over a sandwich. So I think at this age, I certainly choose my words and choose my battles. And that's with everybody. I am great at ignoring situations and people to protect my peace. I would say that's the biggest thing. Like I just want peace. I want happiness. And if you come to me with some craziness, I'm going to look at you. I'm going to talk about you behind your back, but I'm not about to go back and forth with you over some foolishness.
Let me ask you this, Jen. So we were talking about late bloomers. And again, I don't think either one of you all were late bloomers by the definition of the word. But I know, having known you as long as I have, that you sacrificed some of the getting out and doing things for your kids when you had them, as a lot of mothers do. A lot of people do. But, and you said once they got older and grownish, you start getting back out in the world and moving about. And it's funny. Was it Chantel? It must have been Chantel. Said she ran into a Delta from Chicago, and she was like, "Do you know Jen Lee?" And she said no, and she was flabbergasted. She was like, "Wait, you don't know Jennifer Lee? Well, is it a Delta in Chicago? Don't know Jennifer Lee?" So, but I know there was a moment in time, a long moment in time in your life where a lot of that was shut down because you were raising kids. So,
exactly.
So again, the late bloomer thing doesn't necessarily fit, but you did shut it down and had to re-engage. How did that? Like, how did that feel?
Oh my God. It was so difficult because, I had been with the same man from age 15 to 40, and I lived in a far northern suburb. So he and I, Right. I was in Gurnee, Illinois. Right.
Okay.
So he and I would do fun stuff, as couples do. We came into the city, I think, quite a bit, but it's different when you hanging out and you got 2 kids or you got 1 kid, versus, you without any children or grown children. And when I first started hanging out, my mother was keeping my kids, and I was like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like I had so much fun because it was all new. Everything was new to me. Like people talk about the house music picnic when it first started. Yeah, I was having babies. So all of those things that people say, oh, Chicago, I know Dejois, and then after Dejois, Jennifer was done.
Yeah.
Like people talk about, what's that little cigar bar down on the north side, whatever it is. It's a cigar bar now. Like I didn't do any of that. I was straight in the house, like breastfeeding. So it's definitely a quick learning curve though, because you get out here and brain, like life hits you, like, and then drama can happen and you dating and somebody else dating them. And it's just all kind of craziness. So I would say that the learning curve is very quickly. What's different between now and let's say 40, when I first got out there, is my response to it, or even my willingness to engage is just totally gone. And so you won't see me in any of those social situations that can cause me to be uncomfortable. Or, when I first was out here and people was all asking about my ex-husband and him in these dating streets. Like now I see him with a woman. Hey girl, hey, good luck. So it is really drastically different. And I think that I would say what it is maturity. I've finally fucking grown up. And that took, I don't know, probably till I was about 48, I would say I was a clown. So now I'm all settled and good.
No, that's what's up. That's what's up. Let me ask this. So as you've gotten older, is it what you expected or not so much? So I'm gonna kick this to you first. Like, was it what you expected, or is it like, this was not what I expected?
It's not what I expected. And I'll go back to you only as old as you feel. I looked at when I was younger, my grandmother, when she was in her 40s, 50s. And then when you got older, you looked at your mom when she was in her 40s and 50s, and she was raising me and being a, mom and a basic mom and everything else. And it was great. And it was wonderful. I had a great childhood. But that's what I thought I would be at 50. And I'm not. I'm at 50, trying to go to Dubai and trying to go on ski trips and all this other stuff that generation maybe wasn't doing. So I was not expecting to be this energetic, active. I'd probably expect to be a little bit more financially well off. But I'm doing good. So I'm still the conservative, send money to retirement versus spend it now. I didn't expect to be at this place in my life. I expected to have made some different moves earlier on that sent me in different directions, and they didn't happen. So, yeah.
I think a lot of us can say that. Jen, so is anything like surprising, been overhyped, like has been super awesome or super sucked?
No, I would say that it's far better than I ever could have imagined. I never saw my life like this. Like I only saw pictured my life as a wife and us doing, family shit, which, we still do with these grown children. But I never thought that I would, this year alone, I think I've been to like 8 countries. I never envisioned that I would have the amount of money that I have, that I would be doing the things that I'm doing. What I'm into now is like the stock market and my credit score. And I'm like, that is some old lady shit, but I love it. Like, I love my credit score is the highest it's ever been in my life. I have more money than I've ever had in my life. Like, it's so wonderful. And I never anticipated that. I always worried about, being single or being divorced and broke, not living the life that I lived as a married lady. And my life far exceeds everything I did as a married woman. And I never, ever could have projected it.
Now, one thing that surprised me as I was getting older, I stopped playing basketball, took up golf. When you were younger, only old people play golf. Guess what? I'm old. I started cycling. When I was younger, only old people cycle. Everybody out there is 40 and 50-year-old males in these skinny little outfits cycling. Never thought about that when I was a young person. Now I'm like, damn, I get it. We're older. We do the older shit. I'm not running up and down the court with you. Things like that. Things that you didn't think, oh, well, why? That's some old people stuff. Guess what? I'm old. You know, I remember when I was younger, I was talking to my mom. She was like, I'm going to a party. Cool. What are y'all going to do? No, she went to a lounge. And I'm like, let me get this straight. You going to sit around and listen to music and have a drink? You're not going to dance? She was like, yeah, I'm going to just sit there and listen. I was like, why would you do some shit like nowadays? Let me get some good music and a good drink. I will sit there all night.
Especially if it's live music.
That's right. Now, but back then we didn't understand that's what old people do. I'm not going to concerts anymore.
Listen, don't call us old, though. I would say that we've reached the point where we find enjoyment in different things. And I am going to see Drake next week. Thank you very much.
You enjoy that haze in the air. That's
now she got a sweet. There you go. She doing it the old folks way.
Right. See, and that's the difference. You realize as you got older, you still want to go to the concert, but you're not sitting on the main floor in the haze.
I can't.
Sweet. That's experience right there that lets you know this I'm doing things differently.
Well, it's funny you even say that about the concert, because as you was talking, Solomon, about stuff our parents did, I remember my mother would be like, I'm going to see Frankie Beverly and Maze. I'm just throwing somebody out there, the Temptations, whoever. And I'd be like, wait, you going to see them perform? She'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, but you got all the albums right here. Why you? We could listen to this shit. You gonna pay money when you got? I don't get that shit. But now you can't tell me nothing about no live music. So live music is my. Yes. You want to get me somewhere? Your best carrot is gonna be some live music, and I'm probably not still coming, but it's the best bet you got to get me there. It's interesting that you all say it's different, better. The way you thought you would move. I'm gonna be honest. It's not bad, but I'm surprised at, and people still gonna laugh at me when I say this, how slow I've gotten.
Oh yeah.
I was like, psh, I know my mama did, no dad. My dad was always like slow motion anyway. I was like, I'm always gonna be on the move. I'm always gonna be in these streets. I'm always gonna be at the spot. I'm always gonna be in the know. And I'm not saying that I still don't move around, but it's way different than how I thought I'd move around.
Oh yes.
You know what I'm saying? I thought I'd still be at the underground, boom, doing this, at the club, whatever the club is now, whatever.
Even simple stuff like all my life, I ran upstairs. I don't like walking upstairs. I ran upstairs. And I realized last year, I walk upstairs now. I don't run upstairs. I don't know why. It just switched one day. And now that I'm older, I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna get there when I get there. You just gonna deal with it. So
I don't know if this is a 50-year-old thing, because I don't really remember this in my 40s, but now I wake up with little aches and pains.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, why does this hurt?
Absolutely. How the hell does your knee go out when you just sleep?
Just sleeping.
Hey, remember when you was in college and you had the thinnest ass, no feathers having pillow, and then you might as well not had a pillow. Now I gotta have just the right pillow, or I got a crick in my neck when I wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
I hate when my wife falls asleep on my pillow. I'm like, God damn it, I can't even get my pillow. My neck will hurt in the morning.
What about one of the things I had to do was I had to start wearing a little under eye makeup. Do men have any like physical changes in their face that they feel like, oh, I got to do something different? I got to add a routine.
We can't do shit about it. There's not men makeup products like that. We just got to fuck it. We old. We look old. I got dark circles and bags under my eyes, and I can go through Ulta and buy all this stuff for the women and try and do it, but no, at some point, men just got to deal with it. You're just gonna look like you look.
Yeah, and to be frank, we're not quite as concerned about it.
That's true.
A little, because women,
y'all more concerned about it.
Women are more concerned about it, and two, way more forgiving about our shit. Way more forgiving about our shit. Y'all be like, oh, that little. I posted this picture. I was like, this gray ass beard. I was like, oh, look at you with the little gray. I see.
Oh yeah, Brian, your gray beard. Well, one thing my friend said is that he realized he does not wake up with erections anymore, and I was like, what?
Oh, I've been done.
I didn't realize that was something that would go away, and I started asking men, and they say, yep. I don't have an erection when I wake up anymore. That's some young people shit. And I was like,
that's bingo.
It's fewer, but no, I still get it.
Okay,
It surprises me. Yeah, I'm glad I got it. Yeah.
That's because I used to wake up and anticipate I might get some. That shit bingo.
Here's an effed up thing when you get older that it's gonna be TMI. So I'm sorry, women.
Oh, good. I'm glad we in the TMI section because I got a couple.
Oh fuck. So I can be honest here, right?
Yes.
So men, your balls.
They start getting saggy.
It's not they just get saggy. There's gonna be a time when you were sitting there using the restroom, and after a minute or two, all of a sudden you feel this shock of cold water because they have fallen down to touch the water. It's gonna scare the hell out of you. It's gonna scare the hell. It's gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. I didn't think it was at some point.
Brian, I'm sure that I've seen more balls than you, and they do get saggy.
I'm not saying, listen, hold on. Okay, now we're in the TMI section of the show. But I'm not saying mine haven't started sagging some. I'm more concerned if they ever get past my dick. Now, I'm like, what?
Yes and no. It's not that they get past it, but they're more pliable. So in the morning, they're like up and tight. As you age during the day, at the end of the day, your eyes are more tired. You can't see as well. You can't hear as well. You're thinking slower. The rest of you is old at the evening too. So yeah,
I haven't quite gotten there yet.
I have gotten to
the where the gray is not just in my beard. The drapes are
yes. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, I ain't doing that. No, fuck that. No, see.
What you ain't doing that? I ain't doing that.
That's the man that's still in the store.
Oh no, I just
yes. Please cut it off.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, the day that I was like, ooh, this is the move.
Oh yeah.
I think the worst is the gray eyelash.
Then gray hair ain't distinguished. Okay.
The gray eyelash is a shocker too, if that ever happens to you.
I haven't gotten there yet. Gray eye. But so I just want to say that we've been having all these mature people's conversations. Our engineer is 21. He like, Jesus Christ, this will never happen to me. Yes, it will, Jake. So yes, it will.
Here's a point I want to bring up.
He's all blonde and flowy hair. He all young. I hate his ass.
One thing that I didn't realize growing as I was getting older were that my parents were getting older. And now I see the cracks in the wall and I see them being slower, the mental, the physical, like they were always my superheroes. And now I'm like, I'm calling my mom like, don't go buy fucking gift cards. I don't care who you got the text from. Those are not your friends. You know, you these people were the smartest people on earth teaching you, and now you're trying to explain scam calls to them and all this other stuff.
They literally become your children.
Yeah.
I know that when my mother calls me, it's because she need me to fix some shit.
Yes.
I call her normally, but if she calls me, I gotta fix some shit. Jennifer, I can't. Oh, the funniest, and when I told my daughter we're gonna cry about this later, when we FaceTime her and she puts the phone up to her ear, like,
yeah,
and we're like, take it away from your ear, pull it up to your face. It's just it's sad because I remember her being so vibrant and so energetic. Like I would be lazy. Like, can you go fix me? Like now I would never ask my mother to get up and do anything for me because
caring for the caregivers. It's a situation.
Yeah.
And we're getting close to time, so I do want to down. That's a perfect segue. As a matter of fact, mom and dad, they told us a lot of things growing up. They gave us a lot of advice. They imparted a lot of wisdom. We are now at the age where we're taking care of them. And a lot of things they've said, we've either implemented or haven't. Were they right, Jen?
She was right about most things. You know, she would always say, oh, keep living. And I've said that to my kids.
Keep living.
Repeatedly. Keep living. You don't see, keep living. But I would say what she was wrong about that my mother does that I certainly does not do. And she encourages me and my daughter. She's like, spend all of your money, do everything you want. And I'm like, Samari, don't listen. Your grandmother's broke. Don't listen to her. Like, we can't roll like that. We have to do better than our parents. We have to have savings. We have to do these things. So I would say she was right about every single thing but money. And one of the things, you know, the perils of Black families is a lot of times we don't teach about money. she was not the greatest teacher with that, but with everything else, she was right. Keep living, and I've had to tell my kids, when they talk to her, they recognize that she does move slower and that she may not be as book smart, but I said that those life skills, living 82 years and burying her own parents and her own siblings and her husband, like you can't discount that. So please understand that she has a lot to teach you, even though she may not be able to do a calculus problem.
Facts.
Yeah, I would say my dad, every time I call him old, he will say, there are people who are trying to get my age and there are people that will never make it. And I take that to heart, like just like you keep on living. I kind of follow your mom on some things. Yeah, I want to be able to take care of my kids, but everybody's scared to retire. You can retire anytime you fucking want. It's just how you want to live when you retire. Your level of comfort. You could retire now, you just not balling. So I have to go with the spend some of your money, because you are here to live. And if I'm saving money till I'm 80 and I die at 75 because I'm a black man that has smoked and drunk and partied, I'm not gonna make it to 80. So then my it wasn't for me. So I would say spend some money on you. You're either gonna spend it now.
She's spending some money on herself.
Well, she
ain't having that problem.
So yeah, so my kids will be taken care of, but I'm spending money on me.
Yeah, you gotta.
Speaking of which, we're going to Thailand. You coming?
Oh, I'm coming. I've already been, but I'll go again.
We'll talk about that.
Unless you're taking your children, in which case I don't want to go.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that, Solomon. I think we're still at a prime age to get out, and Jennifer is a living embodiment of this. Getting out, traveling, seeing the world. We might not do exact like. So, for example, I'm taking Devin to Vegas for his 22nd and graduation in like 3 weeks. And in my head, I'm like, so do I gotta, used to be go to Vegas, pool party, strip club, the best.
So the most fun I've ever had in Vegas was with Brian Foster. You cannot reproduce that. I tell everybody, I'm not going back if Brian ain't going. Like,
but do I do that with him? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and do I even want to do that? Like, I don't want to be in the club.
Does
I really
don't do that. You have to get his personality, right?
But he don't either.
Right.
So until I had this conversation, actually today we were texting back and forth about what he wants to do. But I'll say that to say again that we're moving differently. And like, if I used to go to, when I went to the Dominican in my early 30s, party until 5, but that's what I want to do. Now I want to sit on the beach, read a book, and maybe sleep by 10. Right? And that's fine. Because I'm gonna wake up at 6 regardless. Oh, that's some other old shit. Why can't I fucking sleep past 6 o'clock? I don't care what time I go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah. Crack of dawn, you up? Because
yeah. But back to the original question. I think shit. What was it? What were we talking about? Right there.
Right. Just what have you gleaned from your parents?
Oh, yeah, parents. That's right. Yeah, I think so. Obviously our parents knew better than us, tried to instill shit in us, and you just, as they say, keep living, because the only way you're gonna figure it out is by living it and experiencing it. And it's funny because I realize when I talk to my father now, sleep on the beach. Damn right, sleep on the beach. More gummies. Yeah. Yes. As I talk to him and he's like, "What's up with the kids?" I'm like, and I'm venting. I'm like, this and that, and da. He just kind of, I can hear his smile. He's not saying anything, but I can hear the smile on the phone. And I get through and he'll be like, and I'll be like, shut up. Because he was like, yeah. I sound just like him. Like the shit I'm telling him, I catch myself. Yeah. His little phraseologies, the stuff he used to tell me.
When my dad looks at me talking to my son and he gives me that look like, yep, that's exactly how I talk to you. And you're like, stop.
I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear
it.
He's like, no, keep going.
No. But they were right.
They were
right. And we might not have taken the lesson for ourselves. I hope that we are imparting their wisdom in our kids, and that our kids, and they won't, because they're kids and they won't. But I hope that every generation takes these lessons and they get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, because they'll never fully take all of our advice, but if they take a little bit more than I took, and then their kids take a little bit more, and their kids take a little bit more, we'll be in better positions.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are coming up on time. Final thoughts, Jen. Final thoughts on being where you are at this age, how you prepare for it, and how you're going to move forward. Because we got a lot of years.
Yes, moving forward, I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm stretching. I never would stretch before. Oh, wow, why do I need to stretch? I'll just exercise. But I'm stretching. I'm drinking more water. I'm eating better. I'm getting more sleep. I don't want to look like some old ass raggedy 80-year-old. I want to keep my skin looking nice. So, I like we talked about, I choose the way I spend my time wisely, and I try to keep my peace. And I would say that should hopefully take me into a nice, long, healthy life.
Solomon?
I'm gonna go with Jen's mom. You got to keep on living. I would like you to know today I broke the record on longest days lived by myself, and tomorrow I'm gonna set a new world record on longest days lived by myself.
Love that.
And we're gonna keep going with that.
Love that.
And I'm going to each day try and live and experience more than I have done before. And still try and take care of my village and my family while I do it. But in 2 years, selling the house to pay tuition, and I'm out. So I'll send y'all postcards.
I ain't mad at that. I love both of those answers. I think I would like to say to folks our age, a little younger, a little older, we got a lot more living to do. We do. And if you're not taking advantage, but by that same token, tomorrow is not promised.
Mm-hmm.
It's depressing how often I look on Instagram or Facebook and see one of ours that had passed, and not passed from some tragic car accident or anything, but just like their health failed them for whatever reason. And it's a wake-up call every time. To not only take better care of yourself, and I do want to add in this, and we touched on it like briefly, but your mental health is just as important. If your mentals ain't right, your body will follow. So as well as you're taking care of your body, every workout you do, every bike ride you take, every Zumba class you go to, spend that same amount of time working on your mentals. But tomorrow's not promised. So I'm a firm believer, and anybody that knows me for real knows this: live every day to the fullest. Now I don't sometimes lay my ass in bed and watch TV all day, sure, but I cherish every day and try to make sure that I'm living that day at least partially like it's my last. And I do want to make sure I plan for the future, because I do intend on living a long time. And if I don't, I want to make sure my kids are straight. But we got a lot, hopefully, got a lot of living to do, and we should take advantage of that. Don't feel too old to go to some spot you've been meaning to go to. Don't feel too old to take some trip. That don't be afraid to go by yourself. Safety always, as a major concern, but don't feel too old to do this or do that. Do that shit.
Yeah.
Do that.
Let the 30-year-olds, you're gonna be 40 one day. You got 10 years. Don't wait till you're 40 to go, shit, I had 10 years. 40-year-olds, you're gonna be 50 one day. When I was 40, I probably should have done some stuff, but I was like, now that I'm 52, I was like, fuck, I had 10 years to do that shit. I could have done it by now.
Start today. Because
get out that bucket list and scratch it off. I get so sick of reading about bucket lists. What bucket list? Go do it.
Yeah, go do it.
Yes.
Go do it. And again, I'm not saying spend all your money today. Plan for the future, but live for today. Take some time for yourself and do what you want to do. Enjoy it. And because, as we're saying right now, my mother was talking to me. I took her to the Goodman to a play the other Sunday, and we're driving back home. And she's like, I want to, and I deal with the finances at this point. She's like, how my money looking? I'm like, girl, you got more money than you know to do. What you asking for? She's like, I want to take a trip and do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, do it. She's like, but who am I go with? All my girlfriends are ailing or incapacitated or don't have the money. And I'm like, damn. I guess that means I'm gonna go, which is fine. But what I'm saying is, though,
I'll go, Brian.
You want to come? Come on. Do these things now while you have the capabilities to make them happen. Live your life to the fullest. And we're not old.
We're not old,
but we ain't got that many summers left either. So you better take advantage of them motherfuckers while we got them. Hey, thanks everybody for watching. Jennifer, Solomon, thank you for being on. Everybody said a great show. I was worried about it. I'm like, is this gonna be too old of a topic? But then I realized all of us old that watch anyway. So it's all good. And the Solomon's point, any young people that are watching, you're gonna be here. You're gonna be here.
Keep living.
Keep on living and start planning for it.
Yes.
So you'll be in a better position than we were. All right. Next week, hopefully Sean will be back again. Sean, take care of yourself. Before we leave, hold on. This has been behind me. I haven't talked about it yet. Our girl Mila is doing the second year, the Full Fest. It's at this. It shouldn't be a secret, but there's this very like low key, floral, beautiful spot on the south side of Chicago. She's gonna have live entertainment. She's gonna have bands. She's gonna have poetry. She's gonna have rappers. It's an awesome event. Last year it was on the same day as House Music Picnic, so a lot of people couldn't go. This year it is not.
It's not.
This year it is not. So go check it out. It's this weekend. It is a great event. Go visit the In the Zone podcast page. If you are not a member, type in the Zone podcast, ask for membership. I will let you in. There is a discount code in the group that gets you $5 off of the ticket price. If you use the code ITZ 2023, I believe, but it's in the post. Anyway, go support my girl Mila. You all have seen Mila on the show on a few times. She's brilliant. She's beautiful. And she's really doing something dope. And it's not expensive. It's like $20 a ticket anyway. So anyway, thank y'all for watching. Be safe out there in the smoky haze. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Anybody going to NASCAR, check that out. That shit should be dope. I'm mad I'm not going to be in town to check it out. And we'll be back next week. We got an interesting one next week. We got to source the guests for it to make sure it happens. And Kenya, if you're watching, you want to be on Kenya's asked to be on the next fuckery show. That's going to be the one. So I'm like, I'd like to be in the fuckery.
I like to be in the fuckery show.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Peace out.
Peace.